This is Romesh Srivastav, Editor-in-Chief, Sightsin Plus. So Sightsin Plus is an HR magazine which started in 2017. And after the overwhelming response of the magazine, we have started this YouTube channel. So please do subscribe to the YouTube channel for the HR updates, for the HR news, for the HR trends for 2023, and some conversations with the top-notch CHROs. The agenda for today's discussion is the workplace challenges and the trends for 2023. So, if you see the major transition in last 2 3 years, that has been the remote working, and remote working has disrupted the workplace culture utterly. It has impacted also the employer-employee relationship. It has impacted also on employee engagement, employee experience, job satisfaction, this all. And if you notice, now the work relationships are more transactional, happening more transactional now rather than enduring. Earlier this year, we have also noted that Mr. Chandrasekaran, the Tata Group chairman, and Mr. Narayan Murthy, the Infosys founder, they both have anticipated these concerns, and they were not much in favor of work from home kind of culture, and they wanted to bring back their employees as soon as possible. But is it only the remote working which is responsible for the workplace disruption? I think there are two more key factors. The generation X that is also moving into the leadership roles now. So because the culture reflects leadership, so this could be also one of the reason. Another reason what I find that in last 2 3 years, a lot of digital transformation has taken place with all the organization. So technology that could be also one of the reasons for the workplace disruptions. Recently, I also gone through a report which is published by the OC Tenor on the culture trend for 2023. If we see the essence of this report is that the fulfillment, the focus is on the fulfillment. The report says that employees are not feeling fulfilled and they are questioning about their priorities. They are evaluating the personal pros and cons of their employment. The employees are finding purpose in the day-to-day work and they want more from work, more than a high salary, reward, perks, and benefit. They want the sense of fulfillment that comes from the doing work. Some data is also shared by the this report, and if we trust on the data, it says that 1 out of 3 employees they don't feel fulfilled, and means around 33% employees they are not feeling fulfilled and they are looking for the another job. And this also says that around 30% employees will leave the organization in 2023. So it clearly indicates that attrition is going to be high in the next year. So on these are the burning issues, are the workplace issues. To discuss, we have an eminent global HR leader, Dr. Sanjeev Dixit, who is President Human Resources with the Cadila Pharmaceuticals, and he is also an author of a book that is Plan C. And this book tells about the building and sustaining a high performance culture. So, Dr. Sanjeev, welcome to the Sightsin Plus. And I would like to know from you what do you realize, what is your realization about the workplace challenges in 2023?
So, thank you, Romesh, and thanks for having me. I think it has been a wonderful forum and platform you have created. First in the print media through Sightsin Plus, and now on the digital media. And I think that's a trend which is going on because the entire world is becoming digital, and so is the workplace. And this is the reality which any organization across sector, across geography cannot, you can say, live without. So this is the reality. Now, one has to manage and adapt to the reality. And I think while this entire transition is going on, there are various, I will say, challenges related to this transition management. So we are moving from being very, very office-driven, very, very, what do you call, informal kind of workplace where people are working with each other, collaborating with each other, you can say ideating with each other in complete, you can say, blood and flesh. And then COVID happened. While in some of the sector, the entire, you can say, hybrid work environment was always there. For example, information technology or your entire, um, you can say the entire service sector to a certain extent. But with the COVID happening, I will say this was the biggest, I will say, disruption by nature and by design and by you can say the way things are becoming now very volatile and ambiguous and complex and uncertain, what we call. So now the challenges coming out of this entire, I will say, disruption, because of which suddenly there was no office for last 2.5 years, 3 years, across sector, across globe. People were confined to their work place out of home. So your home become the office. And in a very disruptive way, this really had a significant impact in the mindset and the psyche of the way manager used to manage their team and the team used to productively deliver. So entire paradigm shifted because of this disruption. So the convention of, okay, we will have targets and we will have reviews and we will have monthly, you can say, one-on-one discussions, and we will make a plan and we will then execute the plan and we will achieve, you can say, results out of that. All those, you can say, aspects suddenly disappeared. And everything was clinging on to the Zoom. Everything started happening on virtual platform. So the key challenges, if I have to kind of share, are primarily coping up with this change is the biggest challenge. And still, lot of sectors and lot of, you can say, older age managers are still not come out of this, you can say, challenge of coping up with the fact that you're not able to meet your team and have a, what you call, face-to-face interaction and driving the entire performance and the growth. So that was the number one piece. The number two piece of the challenge is suddenly, rather than the entire aspect of uh, the entire personal growth and compensation and benefits and kind of promotion I will get, and all those things becomes secondary. The health, the mental health, the life, the entire, I will say, sustainability suddenly become the number one priority for everyone, because it was almost like a situation where survival of fittest happened.
Correct.
And we had those first wave, second wave, third wave. By, I think, then there was a vaccination. But I think this entire shift of priorities become the second challenge. All the motivational theories gone for a toss.
Right.
In terms of, okay, there has to be a carrot and there has to be a stick and there has to be, nobody bothered now. And then came the entire the entire you can say, I was a crisis of resignation, a global crisis of resignation, which is called still going on, where, and even the report of OC Tanner, what do you call, endorsed that.
It will carry
That
forward also next year.
yeah, because the priority changed now. If they see an organization which gives significant work-life balance, which gives significant flexibility of doing work and managing your family, the companies or organization or leadership which is significantly focusing on the holistic health of their team and the employees, I think the employees are moving towards those organizations more than the established brands of companies and organizations where conventionally people used to what you call, kind of attracted and get excited about joining. So the priorities also change now. If you see, whether Gen X, Gen Z, Gen Y, whichever you can say, everybody is now looking at how I not, what you call, have a challenge in the next pandemic. I should not be struggling in the next crisis like this, which we saw in COVID time. So I think nobody was prepared. Now they are slowly getting into the terms with this entire pandemic, and still pandemic is not over and through, but I think we have adapted ourselves and managed well. The third, I think, I will say not only the challenge, but the key learning out of this entire experience has been that there has to be a lot of pro-action needed by the leadership, by the enterprise, by the organization, by the all the stakeholder, that how we make the entire ecosystem very, very resilient, agile. I will say even I will say significantly, I will say with a startup mindset, and and how we become very, I will say like a kind of MEB organization, which is like adapt to the surrounding and environment in a very very fast paced manner. So suddenly, the requirement of being resilient, becoming agile, becoming very um, uh, digital savvy, uh, having less dependence on the conventional approach of managing performance and productivity, and get into more I will say simpler but a digital version of you can say assessment and you can say reviewing people and their overall you can say progress and growth. So somewhere, Romesh, the now the focus is moving from earlier used to be more on the top line and the bottom line, and suddenly it has now moved to I will call the middle line. Middle line are all about the values of how what kind of values we are pursuing as a leader, what kind of behaviors we are role modeling as a most influential people in the organization, what kind of ecosystem we are creating, which will make ultimately the organization, which is made up of people and the leaders, as I said, more forward-looking, more adaptive and flexible, and can change in a very, very swift manner in case any kind of similar kind of uncertain pandemic occurs. So middle line is now the becoming the core focus of the organization, and that's what I call culture. And if I have to give a metaphor from a human body perspective, if your brain is your top line and your body is your bottom line, I think the middle line comes where your heart is. And if your heart is functioning well, and if you're within heart, if you go further down and deep, you have a soul. So if your soul is very, as I said, very, I will say, enriched and very, I will say, complete and holistic, then you are driven by purpose. Then you're driven by a legacy, building a legacy. Then you're driven by larger cause, and you're not just driven by okay quarterly, what you call revenue which you are achieving or profit you are achieving, because that is the outcome. But how part is the way we want to achieve those top line and middle bottom line.
So, as we discussed in the context part, that fulfillment is going to be very imperative for 2023. So, I would like to know from you that what are the key factors that drive the sense of fulfillment?
We need to a little bit more defined on the areas of fulfillment. So, if you talk about the fulfillment from the context of sense of fulfillment, that how I feel more complete in the sense of the kind of or quality of work which I want to do in a given time frame, and it not necessarily should be at the workplace. It could be beyond workplace. But can workplace be give me that kind of, as I said, environment and ecosystem where I feel fulfilled? And I think that's where very, very important that how the leaders are now changing their own style in terms of creating a very inclusive, as I said, work environment where people feel that they are more secure, they are more taken care of, they are more, you can say, listened to, they are more feel welcome. They feel more safe. So I think those are the some of the I will say element which is the key element from the context of, again, what kind of ecosystem the senior management, the leaders are building and creating in the organization. And I generally call the term as culture. And while culture has been, I think, overused across the last almost like what, 5 decades or 10 decades, but I think the real, I will say, understanding of the importance and significance of culture being felt during this COVID time. Because COVID, I think, gave a very important reality check to all kind of organization and all kind of leadership style, because nobody was ready, nobody was prepared, irrespective of having a greatest strategy in the world from McKinsey or Bain or what I call BCG, or having a greatest, you can say, execution template to kind of execute those strategy, or having the greatest, I will say, risk management plans and risk mitigation strategies, didn't work. Everything fell flat. Everybody was helter skelter. And what came in terms of research and findings, and I'm referring to even my research, which I did in during those periods, and I worked very significantly on the culture piece and resilience piece. What are those values in the organization which encourage and promote resilience? And it was very clearly coming out that the leadership, which was very high focused on role modeling those behaviors which were derived out of those core values, whether it is, you were to say, the sense of care or sense of responsibility or sense of authenticity or sense of integrity or sense of taking people along or sense of respect, whatever might be the core values. But the behaviors role model by the senior management team become the kind of I will say reference point for all the employees and all the people in the enterprise to replicate and to kind of imbibe, so that there is a similar kind of as I said ecosystem or the work environment which was created. And that's where I will call the sense of fulfillment of the employee was high, because they could see their leadership walk the talk. They see their leadership is not coming across very fake and very transactional or very, I will say, peripheral, but their leadership is much more, uh, I will say, deep in terms of the way they are inspiring them. They were very touched by the fact that the senior management in this kind of a scenario reached out to them and mentioned in a very transparent manner, come what may, we are there to stand by you and your family, and we care for you. And they not only said in terms of lip service, but also there has been a lot of work happened around that. So suddenly, as I said, while achieving those profit and while achieving those revenue and market share growth and all those elements, the how part become very critical. How part, what is obviously very clear, the KPIs and KRAs and
Absolutely.
all the targets, but the how, and how differentiated the companies which survived in this COVID time and the companies which struggle badly, where they have to even retrench people because they were absolutely below the water. They have to kind of remove a lot of their, I will say, vendors and suppliers, because they went bust, irrespective of having strategy, irrespective of having risk management, irrespective of having all the best in class thing in terms of systems and processes. So there was something which was lacking fundamentally, which nobody kind of realized in the normal time of last, whatever, 70, 80, 60 years. Suddenly in 2020, everything got exposed, everything got kind of turned upside down. And people were saying, what happened? So this is called the way the leadership operates, and we say, oh, situational leadership. What do you call theory will come. Then you will have all those theories of leadership. No theory came to rescue. So only thing which came into rescue was the fundamental way by which the leader were consistently behaving before COVID, during COVID, and now post COVID, which is role modeling, the values driven behavior. And that's called culture.
So I think we have already covered about this the great resignation and attrition. But still, I'll again ask you that how do you see in 2023? How do you see this is going to there would be rise on this, and if there's rise, then how we can control that? What we can do if we can have some specific points on this?
So I think the realization is very real to all the organization, all the enterprise, all the leaders. I've been working across various industry, including pharma, which is my current industry. But what I've realized is the across the board, I think the reality check has been happened very, as I said, in a very, I will say, straight on face type. So the leadership is very now. If they are not awakened still, I think they are absolutely doomed to go down the what do you call hill. But lot of I will say leadership have now realized that they have to change the entire paradigm of engagement. They have to change the entire paradigm of connect. They have to change the entire paradigm of the way they, as I said, focus on the development and the overall growth of their team and their family. So I think even thought is going beyond employee now. It's going to family and their extended family, because the understanding is that in this entire what you call crisis or pandemic, what came to support is the entire family
Family,
system and the family mechanism, and nobody else,
right?
right? Even if you know the way we saw the entire challenge which happened during COVID, is that it was such a horrifying scenes that even you are not getting the last rites done in a much more what you call I will say in a very respectable manner. So 23, beyond 23, I believe there is going to be uh, I will say growth and success of those organizations which will unshackle their entire very old and rudimentary mindset of okay, the people are these resources by which I can achieve my mean, right? So I think the from becoming a mean to achieve the result, I think people is going to become the, I will say, the core element of the purpose for which the organization is going to what you call drive.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So that is a shift which is going to happen, come what may, because it's not a choice
Because of this
anymore.
purpose and the passion, there is also change in work, and the people are also following their passion. They are starting some kind of another jobs as such parallelly that could be. So, how do you see in next year the rise of gig economy? How do you see the gig economy in coming year 2023? There would be sharp rise. What?
So in few of the sector, there is already the discussion is started. If you see in a very, I will say, there's a question of ethical discussion started in the IT sector of moonlighting, right? That people are looking for alternate opportunities while working in one goal. Now, this is nothing but the, I will say, little exaggerated version of gig working only, right? Only thing is we are not coming to the term. We are now measuring it on the scale of ethics and unethical,
Right.
what do you call standard. You could not avoid and deny this wave. Gig wave is bound to hit India, and it's already there in Western world. It's already there in Europe. It's catching up very fast. Why? Because No longer people want 9 to 7 job. They want variety. They want, I will say, value added experience. People are now looking for experience. They're not looking for what you call brands and employer, what you call great place to work and great play. These are all fad. People have realized this is nothing. This all certification. This is like a, I will say, cottage industry, which is just giving left, right, and center some kind of awards, right? Which people laugh about. That okay, you are a great place to work, but what about the way you handle the entire crisis during COVID? What you have done beyond just what you call paying salary or even not paying salary. So I think 23, 24, 25 beyond will be the year of disruption for sure across industry. People have to kind of start now living with that reality. If they change themselves before the change happens, I think that's the most I will say intelligent choice to do, because whether it is gig working, whether it is your as I said, people looking for multiple option to have variety of experience and exposure, and I think the trend has already been set. I think this gig working will be now more in the mid 35s and 40s and 45 years, where people will say that, okay, I want to now do projects and I'm not keen to have, as I said, one kind of industry and one kind of what you call job parameters. I would like to take more projects of 6 months. I want to turn around something and then build some kind of a legacy and then move on to some other project. And I think that's going to be the trend which will happen across now industry, which was mostly earlier in the IT sector.
You, as you said already, that 23, 24, 25 is all the years are going to be the year of disruptions. So, what do you see that what will be the top five workplace trends in the coming year, 2023?
Well, I don't have the what you call crystal ball before me, and I cannot say do a kind of a prediction. But I think I am just extrapolating the trend, which is already there in 2022, which is all about as I said, the significance and importance of culture taking a more forefront element in the board discussions and the entire strategic discussion. So rather than strategy focused culture, now it will be more culture focused strategy. So that will be a significant shift which I see going to happen, because the realization is very, very clear now that no longer you can have the culture as a subject of what you call seminars and symposiums and what you call high tea discussions. This is now going to become the core part of your the business, you can say, strategy. You will have now culture vision, not the vision, but the culture vision of the company. You will have a culture mission of the company. You will have a culture purpose of the company. You will have culture KPIs of the company. You will have this culture reviews started happening in the companies, that if our culture is shaping up well, and there are various elements of culture you can define in a very, very specific parameters, whether it is a blame game culture, whether it is a collaborative culture, whether it is an innovative culture, whether it is a resilient culture, whether it is an agile culture, whether it is a disruptive culture, that you yourself disrupt your own culture and create a new culture as like a startup within startup, right? So that's the one trend which will significantly happen, that culture will start becoming the driving force of a lot of your leadership decision making and leadership strategy. The number two is the entire mentality, which will now move from just being a very, as I said, conventional what you call approach to achieving your growth and success and sustainability. I think the focus will move to sustainability more than only growth. Sustainability will become another core. So culture, and then comes the sustainability as the new trend, where all kind of sustainability will be looked at. your resource sustainability, environment sustainability, talent sustainability, competence sustainability, culture sustainability, how we can achieve sustainability in all these areas and ensure that we are always one step ahead of change. We are always one step ahead of disruption. We are always one step ahead of any kind of what you call COVID kind of pandemic happening again. So I think the preparation is already started in terms of the way this sustainability will become the next trend going forward. And the third would be this entire agility and resilience piece, that I think people have realized that you cannot, what do you call, be the kind of a sitting ducks, and suddenly you have a crisis like pandemic, and you are have no, you can say, understanding of how to manage it, and then you are managing by hit and trial, and you are managing by, as I said, on a crisis basis. So I think the entire resilience and agility will also become one of the core competence of the leaders, of the managers, of the organization, of the even field force, that how you are promptly responding to the changes which you see or which you are foresee, and you are making the entire improvement today for tomorrow. Right? You are not waiting for tomorrow to happen. You're doing something today for tomorrow. So these are the three key trends I foresee from the point of view of culture, sustainability, and the entire rigor and focus and discipline around agility and resilience.
Much, Dr. Sanjeev Dixit, for joining us and sharing your wonderful thoughts on this workplace culture in 2023. I think we had a very learning session. So, anything else which is left? Still, we have 1 or 2 minutes. If you want to share any concluding remarks on this, we have the time for the 1 or 2 minutes more.
So I think I will just take some of the you can say quotes of my book Plan C, which, as I mentioned, is about the building a very sustainable high performance culture in a hybrid world. And it basically starts with a quote in this book, and it's basically the better version of what Peter Drucker said, that culture eats strategy not only on breakfast or lunch, but all three meals. And these meals are served by CEOs and CXOs.
Right.
So, so that sum up the relevance and the impact of what culture can do. And finally, I want to end with the last quote from the book, which says that if uh, culture is God, then strategy is disciple. So that's basically talks about the core importance of how the new trend on making culture a very integral part of your growth and your critical success factor will happen in a very quick time frame going forward.
So much, Dr. Sanjeev, for joining us and sharing your wonderful thoughts. And we will connect again for any another wonderful topic.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure, Ramesh, and thank you for having me. It's been a wonderful, I will say, free-flowing discussions around very important and strategic aspects of the challenges and the new trends which will enable the, I will say, leadership and the management of various enterprise which is going to watch this, I will say, module or interaction. I think it will be very, very handy. Even for me also, it was a wonderful learning while thinking about all the queries you ask for.